In this video, we're going to be talking about the news, announcements, and highlights from VidCon 2017 and talking about how those apply to you so you can build your influence as a video influencer. But hey, if you're just joining, we are video influencers. Benji, what is this channel all about?
You guys, welcome to the broadcast where we're talking about VidCon. So excited, but if you're new here, this is Video Influencers. We're helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online videos. I'm Benji.
I'm Sean.
And we've been on YouTube for a decade. So combined, almost 20 years. We've been building channels for ourselves as well as other people. So, so excited to be here. How's the audio? Let us know because this is our second take. How is it? Not good? Okay, you guys. Good. Good thing we asked. Having some. All right, so
how's it sound now?
How's the audio, you guys, now? Anyways, you guys, here on Video Influencers, helping you guys build great channels. We're bringing you tips and trick videos every week. We have interviews with YouTubers that are actually doing it. So in addition to our experience, you're getting to hear stories of how other people are doing it, whether they're a beginner or they're seasoned, new channels, old channels. So really excited. Sean, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so let's kick it off. We just finished up VidCon here in Anaheim. We're still here at the hotel, so hopefully the internet connection is good. And thanks for your patience with technical difficulties. And we've been sitting in sessions, we've been in industry sessions, creator sessions, and there's been some big announcements from YouTube. And so we want to share some tips, but we want to kind of kick it off as we go through these 5 tips in this video with some of the news and things that were announced and how that applies to you. And so one of the first things that was pretty exciting this year was Susan, the CEO of YouTube, announced now that 1.5 billion users on YouTube are active every month, and this is people who are logged into a YouTube account. So that means that the platform itself is healthy, it's growing, and it's bigger than ever. And that's people who are actually, able to like and subscribe and comment. That's not even necessarily people that are not logged in. And so the platform is still exploding. Sometimes there's ups and downs for other platform. We're kind of worried about what's happening on Snapchat. But just something to know is that YouTube is really healthier than ever. And I think our number one tip for why this applies to us as video influencers is a lot of us as creators think that, there's a small pie and there's only so many people that can get a piece of the pie. And that's actually a myth. The truth is that the pie is getting bigger. So that means that there's really more people to reach than ever before. And so that it's one of the best times to be jumping on YouTube, to be growing your influence, because the pie is getting bigger. So that means, more fans to reach, there's more income to potentially build and things like that.
And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but it's not just YouTube, right? Like all the platforms have been adopting video for a long time, right? We're going to be talking about some Facebook opportunities. Instagram is just crushing it right now. There's this mass exodus right now back to Instagram from Snapchat. You guys, there's so many viewers out there that are, I don't know if Sean mentioned this, but the users that she was talking about, the 1.5 billion, those are just users that are signed in. So not including the user out there that are just using YouTube as a search engine, right? And there's tons of people out there that don't even have internet yet. They don't even have access. Like, we're talking billions of people. So just know there's lots of opportunity. I've been in YouTube for almost 10 years now. Judy was starting back in 2008. People say you had to start back then if you wanted to get popular really quickly. Well, I will tell you this. People are getting more popular more quickly than ever before because there's just more users out there for way more types of content, right? It's not just comedy, it's not just beauty anymore. Literally anything you're interested in. If there's other people in the world watching it, there is an audience for you. And again, we always like to reiterate, it doesn't have to be 1 million subscribers. It just has to be the right subscribers. It has to be the right audience for what you're doing. And there's just so much more to YouTube that's gonna come our way. So be excited, be pumped up, be motivated to start. If you didn't start yesterday, if you didn't start a year ago, 10 years ago, start right now.
Yeah, and to put that in perspective, the amount of people on YouTube right now is equivalent to 1 in 5 people in the whole world. So 1 out of 5 people have a YouTube account and are using YouTube. So the platform is on fire. And Susan said this, the CEO of YouTube, she said that on average, these viewers are spending an hour a day watching YouTube on mobile devices alone. So YouTube consumption is up. And one of the big trends that, of course, we're seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing this as well, is this shift from traditional TV onto digital. Of course, you probably watch Hulu and Netflix and apps, maybe a DirecTV app or an HBO Go app, that all of this transition onto the digital platforms, and YouTube is at the forefront of that, not just for short micro videos, but there is long form consumption of the majority of users. That's the average of what people are consuming on there. And there was a few other announcements, Benji, just practical ones that YouTube made about the platform and the app before we get into some of the other points.
Yeah, number one I want to mention is virtual reality is this big thing. You've seen some 360-degree experiences where you can look all around, up and down. Well, they just announced a 180-degree experience. So what that means is you only are able to see what's in front of you, right? And why we're excited about that is because it's much more practical for you guys. The thing about 360, you have to set up the whole room, right? You have to consider up and down. Well, this is going to be great for things like challenges where you've got lots of people in video, right? Sean and I, we're always huddled real close together when we're doing these live streams. But with 180 being part of the platform, it's going to be a big deal to give you guys a little bit more flexibility in what you can do with YouTube.
Yeah, so they announced VR 180, and there's already a couple camera brands that are going to be producing cameras for this. YouTube is going to be rolling out the technology for this. And I really do believe that this is actually going to be practical for you as video influencers. Because again, 360 degree is kind of like, if you saw behind this right now, there's nothing to see. It's all like trash and our luggage and everything behind the camera. But if we had, say, like 6 people and we were all doing a challenge or we were all doing an interview on this couch that's right here, then VR 180 is just going to give you that front-facing perspective. Or even if you were just snowboarding down a mountain, it would just give you that front-facing perspective. And YouTube is working with companies to be producing content for cameras that will make it easy to do VR 180. And I think that the takeaway of this is simplicity. That it's going to be really easy to, well, we still have to see it roll out, but that's going to be easy to create content that way, and easier to distribute content that way. And so we like to highlight some of these announcements just to say that sometimes the biggest opportunity for you is when you're an early adopter of a new type of content or a new format. Like the first people who jumped on YouTube years ago, they had an advantage. So something to kind of put on your radar that maybe the first people to be jumping on VR 180 could have an advantage. Yeah. There's a couple other announcements.
Yeah, the next one I'm really excited about is flexible format. So what that means is, you guys know when people are recording with their phones, it's up and down like this, and then they upload it to YouTube. You've got these black spaces on each side, right? Well, now YouTube is going to format your viewing experience to fit your screen. It's no longer going to have the black screen. You can watch up and down like this, and it's going to fill your whole screen. Why that's great is because you know what? It's going to be more mobile friendly. The reality is, especially with people using kind of the vertical format for like Snapchat, even Instagram stories, it's just like, it's user behavior. It's normal user behavior to film like this on the fly. I even do it sometimes like this when I'm just filming casual videos for myself. So the fact that YouTube is going to adjust your experience so it fills up your whole screen is a big deal.
Absolutely. If you shoot up and down on your phone, Snapchat or Instagram story style, and you upload it to YouTube, it looks terrible. It's got huge black bars around it. So basically what the app is going to be doing, it's going to be responsive, and it's going to allow you to have that variety no matter how you're creating content, whether from your mobile phone or from some other kind of portable camera. And so that's really cool, and that's going to be an updated app feature that they announced. And then they also announced a new community and sharing aspect. So they're going to be adding to the YouTube app, which is just a tip here. I don't know when the last time you updated your apps on your smartphone or your iPhone, but maybe it's the weekend, right? So, or maybe you're watching this on the replay. Whenever you're watching this, update your apps, because whenever you update the apps that you use, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, whatever, you always get the latest features. And so these features are going to be hitting the app soon for the YouTube app. So the second one is sharing and chatting. And this is actually was unveiled last year, but they're really going to be rolling it out. And one of the weaknesses of YouTube is the ability to share videos. You know, Facebook is one of the best places to have your content really take off because it's so easy to share across the friend graph. So what YouTube's going to try to do is make the app more social, so you don't have to like copy the link and then like try to tweet it or message it to somebody, but have more of an interactivity to it. And that's another app update that's going to be coming to the YouTube app. So something to pay attention to. We can't commentate on it yet, but these are just a few of the announcements from VidCon. But anyways, we want to share these 5 points. We already shared one, and then we'll do Q&A in just a bit. The first one was that the pie is bigger than ever. It's not a small pie and only a few creators are going to be able to make it. It's that the pie is getting bigger, meaning more opportunity for us, for you, and for anybody that wants to build their influence with video.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add to that is, you know, we're talking about how the pie is getting bigger, right? And obviously, you know, you have the ability to go even have a bigger audience than ever before. But we wanted to make a point that with a bigger audience, there's an opportunity to niche down your content, right, and and focus on a specific group of people and make things happen. Where, you know, before you were just like a general cook on YouTube cooking all types of recipes. Now you could literally just do green juice recipes, right? So there's enough green juice lovers out there that you could have a YouTube channel just about green juice and have a pretty big audience. And it goes farther than there. You could be like, you know, maybe green smoothies for people that like to weight lift, right? So the niches are endless now because the audience is getting bigger. So that's one thing I want to add to point number one, which is the pie is getting bigger because you can now go smaller.
Absolutely. And so point number two is a tip that Benji can kick off a little bit about the YouTube algorithm and helping you get your content discovered. We were able to go to some sessions that were talking about what does it take to get discovered in search, to get your videos found these days, and what's working and what's not working when it comes to getting more views and more subscribers on your channel. And so Benji, what's tip number two?
Tip number two is relevancy. So first off, I want to ask you guys, do you feel like you've been watching way more YouTube videos? I know I have. Like, I've literally watched more YouTube videos than I have in like the last 2 or 3 years. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like I wasn't watching stuff and I just started watching more, but the content seems to be getting better. But what's also happening is the algorithm is getting smarter, right? I want to give a shout out to Daryl Eves. We actually I went to his session. In fact, it was so packed that some people couldn't get in there. And Daryl talks about this, how the algorithm is becoming artificial intelligence. Now, in some ways, it always was that. But what it's doing is learning your user behavior, right? It's learning what you want to watch before you even know you want to watch it. And this is a huge thing that's going on. A lot of people are thinking their subscribers are being unsubscribed, right? They're not being notified. But what's actually happening in some cases, people are going to YouTube and they're not seeing the videos of the people they're subscribed to. They're seeing the videos that YouTube knows you want to watch. That's what's happening to me. I'm watching this one channel called Vox, right? They do latest news channels, latest news updates. They're talking about like current events. And what's happening, they're suggesting other content like that video next time I go onto YouTube. I'm watching channels that I'm not even subscribed to. In fact, I haven't even subscribed to some, but because I'm watching so much of that content, the algorithm, AL, is continuing to feed relevant content to me. This is huge when it comes to creating content yourself.
Yeah, and so there's a couple things that this means for you practically. One of those things is that I'll put it this way, clickbait doesn't work. And here's what I mean. You probably all know that YouTubers, they're accused of clickbaiting, like, oh, that was clickbait, and they get tons of views. But I think that that is a misunderstood term. They have extremely compelling thumbnails and titles, but then that's what the video is actually about. That's not clickbait. Clickbait is where you try to actually trick people with a thumbnail and a title, and then the actual video is different than basically what you promised. And so the takeaway is you want to make sure that all of your content is really as honest and as authentic as possible, but then is also as good as possible. Meaning that if you promise something in your title and then you have a thumbnail that really pulls people's attention, that's your best practice, then and they click on the video, that's what they actually get. YouTube wants to serve the audience. That's why tip number 2 is relevancy. They want to serve you, and they want to serve us, the content that we want the most. If we click on a video and then we watch it and we're like, that was a big letdown, then they don't want to serve that up anymore. And they'll know that we didn't like it because maybe we'll skip right off it in the first few seconds. We won't consume it. And so basically, it's almost like there's no tricks anymore, right? That you just need to put out. It's kind of, what we've known before, but we know a little more details about it. You need to put out good content. You really be focusing on your thumbnails that can get attention. Really be focusing on really provocative titles that pull people in. Almost like clickbait titles, but it's not clickbait.
It's relevant.
It's very relevant. It's completely what people actually want to watch. So ask yourself, what are the hot topics that are happening in your niche? What are some of the trending topics that are happening in your niche? And how can you create content around those that doesn't just try to jump on the bandwagon, but actually delivers really value that is relevantly aligned with the exact thing that viewers and your potential viewers would want to see?
Bonus hack for this part of the discussion about relevancy: creating playlists. So if you can help YouTube to know what's relevant content, this is a big deal. And playlists are good. Every time you upload a playlist, YouTube almost looks at it like you're uploading a video because it has another ID attached to it. But what I'm saying is, so like my wife and I, we do vlogs, right? And we often go to Disneyland. Once a year at least, we're going to Disneyland. And anybody that's interested in us, our vlogs, as well as Disneyland, if I'm putting all of our Disneyland vlogs from other years, it's relevant to people that are interested in that, and that's going to help the algorithm know, and that's a great hack. Think of videos. Sean and I, sometimes we'll record videos 2-3 times over the course of the last 3 years, and if we're putting that all into a playlist, then YouTube is going to recognize that that is relevant content. And if people are going from the video you just put out to the video a year ago to the video 3 years ago, it's going to be huge for keeping audience on your channel on your content. So I don't know. You want to go into it? Because tip number 3 is fire, and it was a huge deal here at VidCon this year.
Yeah, so tip number 3 is Facebook video. Tip number 3, Facebook video. And here's the thing. Of course, you've been watching video influencers for a while. We focus a lot on YouTube. We're at an event called VidCon that focuses heavily on YouTube. But one of our passions on this channel is really not just YouTube. That's why we wanted to call it Video Influencers, because it's about online video in general. And one of the major kind of things that we noticed here at VidCon this year is not just that Facebook is blowing up, and we know Facebook is growing, but Facebook has a major presence here. Right downstairs, they've got a whole creator lounge. They were speaking in more sessions. And there's some news specifically that'll kind of show you what Facebook is thinking about, and that is they're going to be releasing a video creator kind of app. It's a new app. And who needs a new app? I kind of thought about that. There's the Facebook Messenger app. There's the Facebook app. There's the App Mentions app. There's going to be
Pages app.
There's a Pages app. There's going to be a new app, but it's going to be focused more on video creators. And we don't know all the details about it yet. But we have, our big takeaway is this, is that smart influencers are not ignoring Facebook, period. That I know it's hard. I know you're busy. I know YouTube may be your focus, but you should seriously be considering right now creating content, video content, and uploading it on Facebook. Not as a secondary strategy to your YouTube channel, but potentially as a main strategy. That you could, and there was even some examples, and by the way, there's a lot of cool news articles that have a lot of announcements. We'll link those up in the description so you could, if you want to catch up on the latest trends, news, and information. And one of them was covering that there are some people who are doing their daily vlogging on Facebook. They are not doing it on YouTube. They are uploading daily videos and content to Facebook, and they are reaching people. They're growing their influence. And of course, sometimes the objection is, well, yeah, Facebook doesn't have a revenue sharing platform. And we can touch on that in a second, but these influencers are already, because they went in Facebook and they built their influence, they're doing brand deals, they're monetizing through partnerships and sponsorships. Because here's the thing, the bottom line is, and the reason our tagline is helping you build your influence, income, and impact, is because if you build influence anywhere, income will follow. But not only saying that, Benji, what is happening with Facebook and revenue sharing?
Revenue. So my wife and I, we've been on Facebook and seriously taking advantage of no one being there for about 3-4 years now. And we always knew there was potential for revenue, but it wasn't important. And that's why we start with influence here on Video Influencers, right? And we've been able to double our sponsorship rates, get more brand deals because of our Facebook audience. In fact, our Facebook audience is bigger than our YouTube audience, right? And why this is so important is because recently we got invited to be part of the first wave of monetization for creators. So my wife now can go live on Facebook and actually monetize her live broadcast. It's a big deal because it's the tip of the spear, right? Hopefully they roll it out for just all video in general, and they just roll it out for everybody. I believe it's in beta mode right now, so they're only giving it to potentially verified users, maybe at a certain level. The point is, once that happens, just like people went to Snapchat, went back to Instagram, same thing. Tons of YouTubers, maybe just new creators, are going to go to Facebook because there's this new opportunity. So what we would suggest right now is take Facebook seriously right now. Start building an audience. If you've already got an audience somewhere else, it's very likely that you can build an audience on Facebook as well. And the way you use it might be a little bit different, but this is the thing too. Sean was mentioning this whole thing about vlogging every day on Facebook. As you guys know, I vlog every single day, 6 out of 7 days, and we put it on YouTube. We only put snippets of our vlog onto Facebook. Now, I don't think you should be putting up a vlog on Facebook every day, but the point is, you shouldn't be married to any ideas of what's right and wrong. We do not know what's going to happen. Look at what Instagram just did recently with Instagram stories. Everyone thought Snapchat was just going to crush. It was going to keep going. They're going to help creators monetize. Boom, Instagram stories crushes all of that. So don't be married to these thoughts of what you should and shouldn't do. Try things out, and that's why we suggest going to Facebook, right? Not just because Facebook has a huge presence here or that there's monetization. There's just a lot of people using Facebook. In addition to Facebook, remember, Facebook owns Instagram. They have so much data, not just in the Facebook users, regardless of what demographic that is, but also in Instagram users, right? And they're able to see what's happening in the world in a way that almost nobody out there can see. So some big things could be happening. I would definitely suggest looking into Facebook if you already have an audience. If you don't even have an audience, one of the other things we talk about, and it's significant that they made this announcement for YouTube, shareability on Facebook is just way more easy than any other platform out there. The only one that would even come close is Twitter, right? That's why Twitter was, it was easy to go viral. News goes viral because people keep retweeting. Well, on Facebook, it's probably just as easy as Twitter to share stuff. And that's a big deal for people that are comedians, right? If you have small, short form content that people want to show off to their audiences. And we were talking about I don't know why Instagram doesn't have any function like this, but the point being, Facebook, take it seriously.
Yep. And so, hey, we have 2 more points and then we'll get into Q&A in just a second. But our third point was smart influencers are not ignoring Facebook. And I actually kind of slightly disagree with Benji on the idea of could you upload full-length vlogs. We don't know. We're not sure if it would work or not. But a couple things to pay attention to. Facebook is investing in original content. Kind of like Netflix creates their own shows. Facebook's creating their own shows. A lot of influencers we follow upload 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute videos on Facebook, and they're performing well. So Facebook is becoming a video-first platform, that people are going to be probably more used to consuming long form content there. So the early adopters, the first movers, to potentially maybe say, you know what, if my traction is not really there on YouTube, what would happen if I made Facebook one of my main places for building my influence with video content? And then the one thing with the way the ads, just to practically, the ads and revenue sharing will basically be moving to everybody eventually. Probably maybe a certain growth. That's why if you act now, grow your channel, your Facebook page to a certain size, you'll be positioned to flip on revenue sharing. And the way it's going to look is it's probably not going to be ads at the beginning like on YouTube, but it's going to probably be mid-roll, and then it'll be in between videos. So when someone finishes a Facebook video, kind of like on Instagram stories or Snapchat, the way their ads work, then an ad will play in between videos, so it's not as intrusive. But that's just kind of the details. If you're a first mover, fast actor, and you figure out Facebook's different. It's different content. It's not the same rules. You're not telling people to subscribe. It's a different environment. But reverse engineer what people really want on Facebook. Huge opportunity for you to build your influence.
Bonus there too, if you're already recording video and you're constructing a piece of content for YouTube, it's not that hard to put that on there, even in its entirety. That's how we were able to hack our Facebook growth. We were already creating videos for our YouTube channels, and what we would do is just take what was already edited and put that onto Facebook. So I totally agree with Sean in the fact, like, try it out. Work it, right? I would have never thought. In fact, Sean was the one that told us, like, hey, you need to take Facebook seriously, right? And we started putting up content on there. In fact, it was just pictures and sharing our YouTube videos on there. And then slowly we started doing native video on there. So you know what? It's not too late. In fact, Facebook Live is huge. We're doing YouTube Live, but Facebook Live has actually been more relevant and even bigger than YouTube Live. And a lot of people are seeing a lot of success on Facebook Live as well. So tip number 4, like point number 4, is advertisers are taking influencers seriously. This is huge because, you know, the third point of video influencers, influence, income, right? Impact. So the second point is income. Let's be practical. If you're gonna create content, and not have a job, you need to make money. And this is a big deal because advertisers, when I first got into YouTube, didn't take us YouTubers very seriously, right? So it was hard to get brand deals, or they weren't paying very well, so we had to really hustle. I'm finding more and more beginner YouTubers are being able to work with brands more early than I ever was.
Yes, and the point is that it's still so early in the online video space. If you're kind of feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling discouraged about your YouTube channel, we want to encourage you to just keep going, because it's still like, I had a conversation with somebody and they said, do you think the ship has sailed on YouTube? And that's what one person asked, and the person who I trust their opinion, this person says, friend, the ship isn't even fully built yet. And I was like, man, that just sums it up. Like, I know it can feel like it's already too crowded, like the ship has already sailed, but the truth is, the ship isn't even fully built yet to ship off into sea, meaning it's still so early. And what brands are realizing is, as things like ad blockers are becoming more prolific, as more people are using ad blockers, as more young people in all generations are ignoring ads, think about your behavior. You're just hovering over the skip ad button. You're just waiting until the skip ad button and you just click it. You don't care what they're saying. As you look on the right side of Facebook and there's ads, you know they're there. In your email provider, there's banners. You don't even pay attention to them. That's called ad blindness. It's actually affecting every generation. Yep. And so what marketers and brands are realizing is that they need to be
live.
Hey, we're back, and we're talking about how influencers and advertisers or how advertisers are taking influencers seriously. And so yes, with ad blocker, with ad blindness happening, what brands are realizing is they need to work with you. Mm-hmm. They need to work with us, and they need to do integrated campaigns, because it's the way we feel too. We don't want to see a commercial. We want to see somebody that we trust, who genuinely has tried a product, who's genuinely in love with the brand, add value to our lives, teach, show it in our lives, have it integrated, and that is where advertising is going. And that means that influencers of every size have insane upside in the next few years to build your income.
Yeah, and the last few days I spent time with lots of brands in meetings, right? Brands talking to us about how to integrate their product, their service, just their brand into our vlogs, right? Into our videos. Both this channel, my vlog channel, right? And the point is this, they're using this word called organic. They don't want to be intrusive to the viewing experience, right? They don't want it to look like a commercial. In fact, even in the movies this is happening. I don't know if you're a fan of Power Rangers, right? But Power Rangers, if you've seen the Power Rangers, Krispy Kremes had to have sponsored that movie because they actually referenced Krispy Kremes, like the location of Krispy Kremes in the actual movie itself 5 times, right? Like people eating Krispy Kremes, like some of the fighting happening around the Krispy Kreme store or whatever, but it's organically being inserted into the movie script. It's the same thing here on YouTube, right? Like Sean said, nobody likes to see commercials, or at least most of us don't, right? Anything that's gonna ruin the viewing experience is just gonna take away from the content. So brands know if they want to be smart and they want their product to sell or their service to get to the consumer, then they've got to be smarter about how they advertise. And that's why us as influencers, hopefully you guys have a trust for us. That's the thing that YouTubers have that advertisers may not, is the trust of you guys, the viewers, right? That's why it's so important to have integrity, right? Don't just sell out. Don't be prematurely monetizing your content before you create this relationship, because that trust is what's going to make those brands think your content is more enticing for them to have you promote their brand and get paid to do that.
Absolutely. And then our final tip, we'll do Q&A in just a second, and if you're getting value out of this, can you hit that like button, smash the like button on YouTube. What if content, here's what we mean. Here's a great example. Widescreen video on Facebook right now doesn't work close to as good in reach and engagement as square video, meaning you shot it on your phone or you edit it in such a way to make it square. Why? So it fills more of the screen on a mobile phone. On Instagram stories, the way you can give call to actions now, this is kind of a cool announcement. You can now, everybody can link out of their account, or the majority of accounts can link straight out to anywhere you want on your Instagram stories, which is also a hack. A lot of good YouTubers that are using Instagram stories is their #1 traffic source over to their YouTube videos. And the way you do it on Instagram is you say, hey, you maybe share a clip, or you say, hey, I just posted a brand new vlog, swipe up to go look at the brand new vlog. So check it out later. Pull your phone up, pull up Instagram stories. Remember, make sure to update your app so you have the latest features. And now you can give call to actions to links. In fact, on my Instagram story today, I link out to a Logan Paul crazy thing that happened as a side note here at VidCon of a video I just uploaded. So now you can give those call to actions, but that's different. A way you link on Twitter is different than Instagram. The way videos look on Twitter is also different than how they look on Instagram or on Facebook. And so when we say native, that's what we mean. Continue to study, but you want to contextualize all of your content to each platform. If you've only focused on YouTube and you've learned what works on YouTube, it doesn't mean that's what's going to work on Facebook. And so some of those were a few of the announcements. But as you shift onto other platforms, do your due diligence to go deep on the platform. Figure out what's it like here? Like, how's it different? What are people's intent on this platform? On YouTube, I maybe want to watch some longer form content, sit back a little bit, consume it. On Facebook, I'm a little more engaged, a little more commenting, able to share. Your friends are on Facebook. Every platform is different. So how can you reverse engineer your content to be in the best format possible, to be the best type of content possible for the social media platform that you're trying to grow your influence on?
Boom. So the last thing I want to add before we go to Q&A, thank you guys for leaving the comments. Thank you for all the thumbs up on this if you guys like this. We want to do this more if you like it, so thumbs up to show us some love. But what I want to leave you guys is with this. A year ago, a lot of the people that were starting businesses, YouTubers that are starting to have other monetization opportunities, they're all growing, right? Like I'm meeting people at this VidCon that 5 years ago was doing something totally different. They're kind of connected to YouTube and now they're going all in. I'm getting people that used to work for companies that now are talent managers, right? So the opportunities are growing. And this is the thing. There's a lot of business people coming into this world because they see all these opportunities, right? They see the revenue coming from traditional media to digital media, including YouTube and a lot of these social media platforms. And don't let them take too much of the pie. You as creators deserve a piece of that pie. So that's why we're talking about this. That's why there's a sense of urgency in our voice about utilizing Facebook, taking other social media platforms more seriously, right? Utilizing all the tools like YouTube and monetizing, right? Like taking seriously like the different types of monetization opportunities, because man, the industry around this is booming. Everyone's businesses, even when they're struggling, is doing better. Like people who had like 1 or 2 employees last year have like 4 to 10 this year, and they're like continuing to hire. It's like they can't find enough talent. I know this not only from hearing from other people that I know, observing people's businesses, but even in my own business, right? In my own experience. Sean and I were talking today. It was like, man, just to keep up, we need to hire more people to help us with this. We both have our individual, endeavors, and we know even here on Video Influencers, there's opportunities for us to grow, right? We're not necessarily following all of our own best practices, but the thing is, it makes sense to grow, to hire, to start a business because there's so much opportunity right now. It is crazy. Brands can't even find enough influencers. So ask yourself, are you the influencer right now they're looking for? And if you're not an influencer, are you going to be that influencer? So take advantage right now. If people around you aren't doing anything, be the person that is going to do something. Pick up your phone. You don't need a camera anymore. Like start making videos, post on social media, go live, try it out. Follow our best tips and trick videos. You can just binge watch all our stuff. And I'm not kidding you, Sean, tell me. In a year from now, you could be on a panel speaking to an audience.
100%.
We have seen that, like in less than 1 year, people are in the front row of an audience listening to panelists speak, and literally the next year they're on the panel, right? Sean and I 5 years ago, I was saying this a lot. We were like running to the front of the room, in the front row at the keynote, and I know that keynote speaker now, which is kind of crazy, as a colleague, and I was like, oh, we're like taking all these notes. 5 years later, we're both, featured creators. I'm speaking on panels. We're speaking at events. You never know what's going to happen, but the point is, start right now.
Yeah, there's huge opportunity right now. So thank you so much for hanging out. We want to take a few questions. We want to say, hey, Lindsay, hey, Life, and Caf Opal, hey, Ashley. If you're just joining, thanks for being here on the replay. We're going to be taking your questions about how to grow your influence on YouTube, as well as just VidCon if you have any. I've got one question to kick off that I think Benji and I can tackle together. But if you got value out of this, can you hit the thumbs up button? And then if you want to get your question in so we can see it, put like 6 question marks before and after so we really see that it's a question in the live chat. And if you have a question later on the replay, put it down in the comments. But Going Goldberg says, any tips for family channels to stand out? A strategy for a family channel is pretty hard. I think we can both tackle this.
Yeah.
Benji's got some good advice, but I want to share one thing I shared with somebody outside, and I think this is true for all vloggers. I think Benji would echo this, that standing out as a vlogger is probably one of the hardest things to do because vloggers, there's so many, and a lot of people want to vlog. I think being able to go throughout your daily life and turn that into a side part-time or full-time income, that's pretty exciting. But the biggest thing that I think I gave somebody's advice at VidCon is you have to figure out how you're going to be different. So if you just say on your YouTube cover that, what do you guys do? Well, we're family vloggers, you're going to lose. Period. Like that is so general. How many family vloggers are out there? But what I was telling this person is, say, well, what makes your family different? Are you guys Christians? And so if you said you were Christian family vloggers, or any faith, if you said you were some other kind of faith, then some people won't want to watch you, but some people will, because you're not just family vloggers, you're family vloggers who share a certain value system or belief system. Are you guys, a mixed family? Are you like a single mom family trying to make it happen? And are you amplifying your unique situation in your branding and your messaging. If you want to stand out as a vlogger, you need to figure out your unique positioning. In business, they call it a USP, and like your unique product positioning, or like what's the thing that's distinct about this product. If someone's like, I'm going to create a new app. Well, there's a million apps on the iTunes store. So it's like saying you're going to create a new app is not like a thing. But what does the app do? I'm going to create a new photo sharing app. Well, we've all heard of Instagram, and there's thousands of failed Instagram accounts. So how can you niche down, and what makes you distinct? Where you live, what you believe, what you care about, and 10xing that. Don't try to be general in the middle with your messaging. Go to a polarizing side with your messaging so that some people hate you, but that some people love you. Playing it in the middle in the world we're living in is the quickest way to lose on social media. People want to know what you stand for, and we've referenced it before, but if you want to watch something after this to help you with this, there's a TED Talk by Simon Sinek. He wrote a book that said start with why. What you do. Don't start with what or even how you do it. Start with why you do it. What do? We're family vloggers. So is everybody else. How do you do it? Well, we use a G-set, we use a Sony, and we edit it and we upload it to music. Yes, so does everybody else. Like what and how you do it, that's important, but why do you do it? What is like the core value and the messaging and the story behind, this is true for any YouTube channel, but especially for vlogging, so that you can attract the right tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Amazing. And I just want to add a couple things to that. Number one, realize why people want to become family vloggers. Because they've seen these family vloggers just blow up, right? Like get super popular, do fun things, it's this extravagant life, they're getting brand sponsorships, and I'm one of them, right? Like my wife and I, we have a daily vlog called It's Judy's Life, and we're able to go on these trips, we live together, we work together, it's an amazing life. But back up 5, 6, 7, 10 years even. Judy, like a lot of other famous vloggers, they weren't vloggers at first. They became popular because of something else. My wife Judy was teaching beauty. She went to 1 million subscribers, decided to start a daily vlog, right? A lot of the other family vloggers, somebody in that family was working on some other type of content, whether it was comedy, whether it was fitness. They grew an audience before they ever started vlogging. One of the problems with vlogging, not just family vlogging, any vlogging, even if you're a single guy, single girl, is most vlogs are kind of boring, right? Like in between spaces are like, how many times can you see somebody do the same things, right? But if you build a relationship with people and you basically make them think you're like the most exciting person on earth, they'll just watch anything. So that's kind of the long game, right? Like if you want to be any kind of vlogger, in fact, you figure out what it is that you individually, the one that wants to do this most, and you tackle that one thing, whatever that niche is, whatever that type of content is, build an audience, and then start vlogging. Now, I will say, like Sean just mentioned, you don't have to do that, right? Because that is a long game, but I'll tell you, you'll actually potentially grow faster that way and get to family vlogging status quicker than just going into vlogging. But if you were just going to be a family vlogger right from the get-go, which there are family vloggers that do that, one of two things I would say. Number one, what is it that makes you unique, right? Like Sean said. What are like little things in your day that you can make your whole vlog about? An example is, say you live in a place that has a very popular tourist attraction, right? Like say there's like a world famous zoo there. Rather than doing a whole vlog about how you woke up, how you got ready, how you got the kids in the car, and then you go to the zoo, and then you eat dinner at home, and then you go to sleep, just do the vlog around just the zoo portion, right? Optimize rank for the zoo part and make that like a popular part of your channel, right? Like these destinations, whatever it might be. Because in that way, you're able to stand apart than just a regular vlogging family and take advantage of people searching for that. And think of all the different things you can do. And it doesn't have to be a destination. It can be an event, right? It can be a specific, I actually heard this from a vlogger on a panel who was one of the daily vloggers or family vloggers that got very popular within about a year's time. what they would do is take certain aspects of parenting and make the whole vlog around that. And then the title would revolve around that parenting subject, right? The second thing I would say is, I kind of forgot what I was going to say. I talked so much I forgot what the second point was.
Boom. Good tips on vlogging, though. Next question. If you have a question, type a bunch of question marks and then put them at the end, too, so we can see your question. Life of Kalupol asks, what do you think Facebook users want that is different from YouTube or Insta users? Great question. Here's a hack that is super important from Facebook that was emphasized in a lot of sessions. The first 3 seconds of your Facebook video is everything, because that's where it's scrolling through the news feed. So, and this is true even on YouTube, but especially on Facebook, any content you're creating, just the same way as good vloggers think about their thumbnail a lot. They think throughout the day, they take thumbnails, they really strategize what their thumbnail is going to be. And you've all seen good thumbnails before where it's like, whoa, it's like, our kid almost fell into the pool and he's like, ah, and they really think about it. You want to think about the first 3 seconds on Facebook to set the entire tone and grab attention right up front. I really believe that the leading influencers moving forward are going to be masters of mastering the first 3 to 5 seconds of all their content. That are going to be doing creative things, that the punchline, the most powerful thing, and I want to say staging, not staging in an inauthentic way, but like very much, like maybe you think about it all day long, like what today in this video is going to be the part that really hooks attention visually. The sound's not even really on yet, so it really is just visual. Like what visually can just leap off the page to cause people to stop as content scrolls through their news feed. Yeah. I think the second thing, and the only other tip, and then Benji, if you want to queue up a question, is to always just think about the intent of the user on the platform. And so for Facebook, I think your content should be shareable and it should be social. Meaning, people go to Facebook because they want to see their friends and family. You want to catch up with your friends, what's happening socially in life. It's a little bit more of an entertainment platform. I don't think of going to Facebook for news, for example. I go to Phil DeFranco for my news. So I'm watching the Phil DeFranco show on a YouTube channel, and that's the intent of that particular content. Where on Facebook, I might just kind of want to get some entertainment, or I want a little snippet of content. So there's so much in this, obviously, that you could study and test, but think about sharing. Is it shareable? And is it social? And then the last practical thing is, if you've never heard of BuzzFeed, which I'm sure you've seen BuzzFeed before, but BuzzFeed and their team are just kind of masters of a lot of platforms, but really Facebook. If you've never taken some time to just go study BuzzFeed and what kind of content they put out, one of the things they mentioned was one of the most powerful forms of content on Facebook is food. One of the most shared videos of all time on Facebook is this one guy showing how to cut a watermelon. Sure enough. And so if you have a certain type of niche, particularly like a cooking channel or something like that, why is that? Well, because moms are on Facebook. People who are cooking are on Facebook. Like normal family, like normal life is on Facebook. So when it hits your news feed, you might be like, man, that recipe looks awesome. Or that avocado, I remember seeing a hack for how to ripen unripened avocados fast in the oven. Like practical stuff like that. So maybe you have a whole cooking show on YouTube, but on Facebook, you're going to edit it a little more snappier. You're going to teach something really quick and show just right there. It shows up people's newsfeed like, oh, cool. That is completely going to speed up how I make spaghetti. And it can go super viral because how many other people eat spaghetti? A lot of billions of users, or well over 1 billion of users on Facebook. So definitely same thing on Insta. Just what is the intent of the user mindset that's on there? Also your demographic that's on there, and then reverse engineer your content for that.
And I want to just add to that, the phrase I like to use is user behavior, right? Like, what is the behavior? Not just mentally, but even physically, right? So YouTube, I do think, like me, lately, I've been going to YouTube every single day, but I don't think everybody in the world goes to YouTube every single day, right? I think YouTube can be like a few times a week visit unless there's like a show that you watch regularly. But think about Facebook. That's probably a few times a day kind of visit. Why? Because people are checking their messages, right? People are oftentimes putting on content. I think we can all agree more people put up content on Facebook than they do YouTube, right? Because it's so easy to put up content on Facebook. So you're looking at who's liking your stuff, right? Who's sharing your stuff. What do we all like to do when someone comments on our stuff? Reply back, right? Answer their question. Put a thumbs up for their like fun comment, okay? Like things like Instagram. Swipe, 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 swipe. Who knows what I'm talking about, right? Sometimes we just get like a split second of that. We just need to get that picture. Think about that when you're creating your content. So we're talking about, the first few seconds, 5 seconds of like a Facebook video. I would argue like on Instagram, it needs to be like the first 1 or 2 seconds because the swiping is so fast, right? Sometimes the video that you post on Instagram might not even play. So that user behavior is so important. In fact, this is like the thing I want to hammer on so much because it affects so many things. As platforms change and adjust, so does the behavior adjusting, right? This is why YouTube wants to add sharing. That's why they want additional comments, because they want the behavior to change. They want you to be coming back not just every day, but they want you to be coming back multiple times a day. So that is, I know that's almost doubling up some of the things Sean said, but it is so important. I do have a question that I want to answer next, and it's from Hassie. He says, I've done all the tips that you guys have recommended. I optimized my title, tags, thumbnails, and content, but I'm stuck at the same subscriber count. By the way, thank you, Hassie, for that question. And I actually have heard this a lot from people, right, that are just starting out. They're asking me, like, Benji, I've been doing anything. In fact, on my panel, it was like kind of a weird situation. There was a person, the first question that came from the audience was this: I've been doing this since, I'm not kidding you, like 2006, right? And I don't, their subscriber count was so low that I know that it's not realistic to be able to make a living. Definitely not from AdSense, but even like other opportunities, right? And this is what I would say. Sean actually says it better than me, but I learned this from him. It's not enough to be consistent, okay? You can put up videos every single day, right? 20-minute videos, 30-minute videos, 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos, 30-second videos. But if you're not observing the results and the engagement and like adjusting your technique, adjusting your strategy, then you're not going to go anywhere. So you could spend a whole decade and waste your time. Now, what most human beings do, though, is learn from their mistakes, right? They do start improving. That is why the game changer for anybody that uploads a lot of content is you learn things, right? You learn about your viewers or potential viewers. You learn how to create better content. You learn about the platform. You learn about the hacks that not only work for that social media website or YouTube, but you learn what works for your specific type of content and your niche audience, right? So I definitely think you should always be uploading. You should be uploading lots of content as much as you realistically can, but you need to be improving on the last time, right? Slowly but surely, you're gonna gain momentum. And I promise you, if you're following all the best practices and you're in tune, you're aware with what you're passionate about, right? Like if you hear me right now, you can tell I'm passionate about it. But if I'm talking like this and I'm like, VidCon, what'd you think of VidCon?
Did you see the energy drop there?
If you're talking like that, right? Maybe you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So Hassie, I don't know about your channel, but I'm just trying to give a general answer to everybody that has this issue, because I know there's a lot of people out there. Make sure you're doing something that you love, that you're passionate about, that you know about, right? And always be improving on your consistency.
Yep, and let's take, Benji, cue up one more. I'll do one more. And I just want to say too, just to encourage you, because just from my own personal story, and you probably don't know of all the different YouTube channels that I personally have had, but just like in that context, you might be thinking like, man, I've been doing this for a while and I haven't broken through. Well, I actually realized the first YouTube channel I started was actually for my church in 2007. And I personally managed the videos and uploaded hundreds of videos on this channel. Guess what? That YouTube channel and it didn't do anything, but it was my learning experience. Hundreds of videos. 2009, I started a channel called Clear Vision Media. Now, to be fair, it was just a portfolio for my wedding videos, my music videos. I uploaded probably 100 videos on that channel. That didn't go anywhere like today. That hasn't done anything, but it was my learning. It was part of my process. Then I started Think Media, and it didn't grow for about 3 years. I just kind of ignored it. Then I started this whole other project called Think International. Grew pretty good to about 10,000 subscribers, but never really broke through, never really, really hit it. And then we started, then years later, and then I started my Sean Cannell channel. That one, again, it's kind of established, but the audience isn't there, the engagement isn't there. So I don't know if you're hearing the hustle and the grind that has been my own
10
life.
years.
When someone comes up and they're like, Sean, I'm discouraged, bro. I posted like 30 videos or even 300. And I'm like, you're still just getting started, man. Like, that's so, like, they're not knowing, like, I've posted over 2,000 videos online. Some people may, and who knows, it's personal bias or whatever, but some people might be like, Sean, like, you're pretty good now. Well, yeah, you would be too if you posted 2,000 videos online. Like, that's a ridiculous practice. That took forever. I mean, some people go a lot faster than that.
And it really frustrates me when people have this issue and they've only posted like 10 videos. When you hear stories like this, YouTube, Sean is one of the best YouTubers I know, but it wasn't just talent. It was like hustle and experience.
And pain.
2,000 videos.
Patience.
My wife, Judy, I really, really think very highly of her as a YouTuber, not just because I'm biased as a husband, but she has literally also uploaded about 2,000 videos. What happens is you get really good, really fast if you do that, right? And you actually get better and better with each additional video. So the question is, whenever you're asking this about like, I'm stagnant, I haven't got more subscribers, is how many videos have you really uploaded? How long have you really been doing this? We don't want to like make anybody sad by saying it's going to take 10 years. In fact, that's why we started this channel. We want you to be able to do it not in 10 years, but potentially 10 months, right? Maybe in 1 or 2 years, not a whole decade. And that's why we're only talking about the most important stuff, not the fluff. We're talking about the nitty gritty, the top 10 stuff that gets you to where we got in a decade, but hopefully in a much shorter time. Sorry to cut you off. I just had to give you some kudos for all that.
And I think one of the takeaways from my story is you could call them failures, and I don't even think it's failure. Sometimes we fail, or sometimes you win, and sometimes you learn. So I have now like 4 orphaned, abandoned channels. So those, you could call those failures, but no, those were my learning. Like, those 4 projects were what I learned for where I am today. And so sometimes you win at some point, just as, full circle to the person who's like, it hasn't broke through yet. There's definitely, for him, he should have pivoted, or her. They should have pivoted at some point. You might at some point, I'm not saying give up too soon, but at some point you might say, this thing isn't working, but don't give up entirely. You might change your strategy, a complete rebrand, a switch to an entire different niche. It could be a switch to an entirely different medium of communication. You learned so much in video, but you realized video wasn't your thing, so you moved to podcasting. You actually have been ignoring the fact you're like, well, I'm an incredible writer. I just thought blogging was too crowded and YouTube was the hot thing. Just always learning, but not being afraid to pivot when the time is right.
Yeah, and I want to just add to that, because this is what I actually really want to tell that person that stood up and asked that question at my panel. There is actually a lot of opportunities even beyond being the creator, right? If you did truly upload 2,000 videos in a 10-year period, there's so much that you probably learned in that process. And again, that's why I love what Gary Vaynerchuk says. It's not enough to hustle. You have to be self-aware.
Yeah.
So really look into yourself, right? Into your soul. Look at your daily habits. Maybe there's another profession in this world of YouTube, in this world of digital media, that you could actually be better fit for and have even greater success. Little known fact, I don't really consider my first talent being a YouTuber. I feel like I'm more of a manager of talent, right? A businessman. In fact, a lot of the things I do, you don't even see on camera, right? That's me just being self-aware. Now, it wasn't like I just knew that about myself, right? In the beginning, we were just looking at my first video. I was like, I'm gonna be this YouTuber talking about man stuff, right? And Sean was there in the room with me, like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, and I didn't do anything like that, right? I did do recipe videos for 2 or 3 years, but ultimately what I realized was there was other things I was more passionate about, and I'm coming full circle now, giving advice on this right here, right? And that's the last thing I want to say. I do have one more question teed up, unless you...
But just to stay on this, because this is high, I think it's going to help a lot of people. What you said, too, is you said that maybe the self-awareness at some point is to pivot to realize you may not be the main YouTuber. But here's what I'll encourage you. If you post 100 videos, 500 videos on YouTube, and you learn how to do thumbnails, and you continue to level up your graphic design skills, your thumbnail skills, how to do tags, titles, descriptions, but it doesn't work for you personally, do you know how valuable you are to tons of people in the industry? That if you could just show them your channel that like has 100 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers, but they can see the quality of your work, they can see what you've learned. Now you've just positioned yourself to maybe get a job, join a team, join a brand, join an MCN, join a network. If you're passionate, and I believe this with all my heart, 100% of people can work in the online video space. 100% of people can build their influence, get income, and make an impact in the online video space. Sean, do you think 100% of you people will be like the main YouTuber personality person? I don't believe that. And Benji, at some point, he's like, man, I still believe he can, and maybe you will in the future. But he was self-awareness.
I'm doing it right now.
You are, that's true. We're doing it here. But he was like, my best place is being a manager, and he's building businesses, building teams, really knowing kind of where you fit in. And so how do you figure that out? You figure it out by working hard and with patience. It takes time. Mm-hmm. It took all these channels and all these years and all this time to say, this was all right, that wasn't that good, I was terrible at this, I wasn't passionate about this, to just go. So just keep going and be encouraged that, though, there might be a strategic time to pivot. Hit us with that question, Benji. We'll be on here for just a few more moments, and if you have a question...
Before the question, a real life example of somebody that is probably super insanely popular but isn't in front of the camera, D-Rock for Gary Vaynerchuk. Super self-aware, pitched his services, and he's probably as popular as so many YouTubers. Just I wanted to add that. Let's see. Okay, cool. Here we go. Ravi says, what if you feel like you don't have what it takes? I want to buy new equipment, have the money, but I'm afraid that I might fail and it'd be a big waste of money. So what I'm actually hearing from this question is fear. Okay. In fact, I just spoke with someone yesterday who told me they would always want to start a channel, right? And their personality, bright personality, super friendly. I think that this person would do really well on YouTube. And I actually didn't question like, what do you want to talk about? Because they were already talking about it right there on the table. I asked them, what are you afraid of, right? What is it that you're fearful of? Like sometimes you do have all the tools, right? You have all the resources. In fact, if you have a phone, you have all the resources you need, right? You don't even need to necessarily have any skills. What are you afraid of? This is the thing I'll tell you. Almost every YouTuber we interview, every YouTuber I know, including myself, I'm sure even Sean at certain levels, have fear, right? We have insecurities. There's certain things that we're, afraid of to show to the world. There's people like pick out of our content. So you are not unique, okay? Everybody has their stuff, has their demons, has their things. You just gotta know that you're just like everybody else. The difference is people want something else more than they're afraid of that thing, right? And you gotta want that thing that much more. That's why make sure you're doing this for the right reasons, right? Because if you are doing this for the right reasons, you will break through that fear. And that's why we always talk about motivation, right? Inspiration. Like write down your list of the reason you're even taping videos, that you're putting yourself out there and building this channel to build influence to try to get income. It's way more powerful than just like, I want to be famous, right? Or I want to be a YouTuber. Like, what is a YouTuber anyways, right? So that fear, just know that is something that is not uncommon. You just got to get over it by having something even bigger that you want to achieve that'll help you put that kind of to the side, or just smash it all together.
Absolutely. And I love what he said too, because you're like, what if I buy this equipment? Like, what if it doesn't work? I mean, just play out the worst case scenario. 2009, I'm working at Red Robin, pretty much full time, and I want to start a video production company. And so I actually got a loan for $7,000 from a site called prosper.com because I couldn't afford a DSLR, lenses, and all these types of things. Talked with my wife Sony about it, and we talked about it. We thought, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is this thing fails. This loan, we have to pay it off. There's going to be interest on it, so we'll probably have to pay more than the money we invested. But the worst thing that could happen is I just got to keep hustling at Red Robin, pay down that loan, and then pivot and do something else. So, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You are in a little bit of debt. Debt sucks, but hey, there's a lot of people that have debt. What's the worst thing that could happen? You try it, you for a while, and you learn you don't like it. Like, really play out like the worst case scenario, and it's usually not that bad. And I know that you just look at your situation, we have a lot of time. Like, you have time to try different things, to experiment on different things. If you do something for a few years and it doesn't work, you're still going to be smarter. You're going to learn more. You're going to become a better person out of it. You'll get lessons out of it. But yeah, just go for it and just dive in. And
I want to add something to that
yeah.
too. You know, is a thing. It's not necessarily just how much money you spend, but like even your time, right? You're afraid it's going to be a waste of time if you do it. Ask yourself, what are you doing with that extra time, okay? I do not watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of movies. I mean, I catch Netflix once in a while with my wife because that's what you do as a husband. You do what your wife wants to do, right? So we do go out to movies. But for my extra time, in fact, this is our extra time. Sean and I have our own other businesses, right? One of the things I love that Gary said recently, he said, Gary V is my side hustle, right? That's how you become great at something, right? If you're, and I'm saying this specifically for those people that have a day job or going to school, right? Or have a family, right? You have a lot of things. Those fun things you do because you feel like that's what you need to do as a human and whatever, you do not need to do those things, right? So that nicer car that you want to buy or that nicer hobby that costs a little more, you don't have to do it. You know what's really powerful here? I've heard so many people that say they regret not starting 5 years ago. They regret not starting. How many people? So that's why I started this broadcast with this. Start right now. Don't be the person, right? You know, when I think about like my motivation, in addition to like some of my goals and stuff, I always think to myself, what's myself gonna think in 1 year from now, right? I don't want to be the guy that regrets I didn't start doing things today. I want to be the guy that's like, dang, I'm so glad I started a year ago. So be that person right now, because guess what? You probably have a lot more time than you realize if you just dropped a few things, and you can probably save up enough or not spend in certain areas to be able to invest in this, which I'm telling you is going to be so much opportunity. It's going to be able to let you do more of those fun things and buy more of those cool things in the future.
Absolutely. So guys, thanks for being here. I want to land on this question right here. This is good, Benji, and we'll land on this. If you got value out of this, can you hit the thumbs up button? Maybe share this with somebody who, you know, is thinking about YouTube, is thinking about online video. That would mean the world to us, and we really want to thank you for being here. But I love this question. Raising Vlogs asked, what made you start this channel? Because you both have your own channels already. And I love that question. And if you're here, I just want to say thank you. You know, it means the world to us that you're part of the video influencers community, or maybe you're brand new. And I love this question because we haven't really talked, you know, a ton about this. And I think the reason we wanted to start this channel is ultimately just to give back.
Yep.
You know, both of us are full-time YouTubers. Both of us actually have like not just YouTube, but really businesses, like team members, staff, like people that are on our teams. And we've done so much in the industry. The story of video influencers was we were driving in Seattle together, and I flew into Seattle where I'm from. We live in Vegas now. And we're in the car and we're just driving together and we're just talking about our history. And Benji, you know, could talk about, he had a real estate channel and he's done real estate on YouTube and went from selling 10 homes a year to over 100 homes a year and blew up his real estate business. Not as a YouTuber, just blew up his normal business. Of course, it's Judy time in their vlog. He had experience in like the YouTube, like superstar level. And then I was talking about, I had done all this video production. I had done a media business. And I had helped a lot of speakers and authors launch YouTube channels, and I wasn't really doing as much for myself. I was doing it behind the scenes. And we're like, man, we have all of this experience in video, and what if we actually put this together? And the original idea was, let's write a book together. Let's like summarize all the tips and everything we learned about online video in a book. We started that process, but then we were like, you know what, let's put the book on hold, and like, let's see if anybody would care about this yet. And now on that exact trip, if you go after this video to the oldest video influencers video.
It's in my backyard.
It's in his backyard, and we were like, hey, so we're starting a channel, and this is kind of what we're thinking, and we kind of just explained what I just shared, and it was this heart, really I think motivated by two things. One, to give back, but two, fueled by an intense passion that we believe is so deeply, that we are living through one of the greatest periods in human history ever. That the internet has changed the world, that there's a communications revolution happening, and that if our grandparents could look into the opportunity that's before us right now with social media, with the internet, with free tools. You know, as far as I know, I've never personally, and nobody I know has, ever written a check or given YouTube any money to use the platform. People pay for YouTube Red so they don't have to see ads. Yeah. But besides that, YouTube is free. I need to send Susan, the CEO, some flowers to say thank you. I'm always stunned when people complain about issues on YouTube. Bro, sis, YouTube is free. HD video, 4K video, features, comments, subscriptions, cool, like all the features, teams. There's so much opportunity in the world right now with the internet, with social media, with YouTube, with online video, with VR, with 360, and we saw it. We experience it, we live it, we've helped clients with it, we've done it ourselves, and we thought, man, we need to start something. And that's really where Video Influencers was born, so that we can give back and so that we can try to hope. That's our goal. We want to help you. That's our motivation. Yep. We literally want to help you. You're watching this. Build your influence. Why? So that you can build your income, because every message needs money to be sustained. So that ultimately, though, you can make a greater impact and difference in the world. And we believe that that's possible for you. We've seen it in our own lives, and then you've seen on this channel. We've seen it from superstar, like famous looking, you know, people who've got like the looks and they seem like celebrities, to average daily people who have a passion for whatever it is, for cooking or for gardening, who maybe aren't even like that great on camera or whatever, but are passionate about something, put it online, and then monetize their message so that they can turn their creativity into a career. And we believe there's so much opportunity right now. We couldn't like hold it in. Like, we had to start Video Influencers just to let out and say, come on, jump on this, get in this, hustle. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, it's gonna take work, but like, put in the work, because we're living through this window right now. It'll be good in the future. Who knows what'll happen in the future? But I'm telling you, the next few years especially it is changing lives. That it can change your life. And let me just share one more thing. I know I'm ranting here, Benji, and I want you to kind of share in this too. But I just told him this in the other room. I said, one of the things that motivates me is this conversation that I imagine I'm going to have with my grandkids. And that in 20 years from now, when my young grandkid Kevin, is sitting there, right? And Kevin just looks up at me and goes, Grandpa, I know that you started Video Influencers with Benji, and I know that you did some stuff on YouTube, but Grandpa, we're in studying 2010 to 2020 in our history class. We've been studying that time. Grandpa, why didn't you work harder? Like, why didn't you study a little bit more and to really take advantage? Because they'll have, vision is always 2020 in the future. Or, like, Grandpa, why did you just only focus on YouTube? When you saw and you sat in VidCon, you heard about what was happening at Facebook, and you thought, well, I don't know, it's going to take some of my energy. I'm just going to kind of take some time. Grandpa, why didn't you go all in? Grandpa, why did it? That's what motivates me. I'm going to sit there and I want to be able to look at him and say, Kevin, like, I'm glad that I did everything that I could. That while we were living through this literal communication revolution that's changing the world, that we put in the work, we hustled, we did all that we could to take advantage, so that for legacy, for long term, for Kevin, my grandson, or Sarah, my granddaughter, to be able to say, yeah, Grandpa, just like the gold rush that happened in California. when that was happening, people were like heading to California because there was a moment of opportunity, and so it motivated them to take advantage and seize the moment of the present day of what was happening in the world. We believe that's happening right now, and that is why we started Video Influencers.
Powerful. And let me just give you like even more simple version of what Sean said that I always think about. Judy and I started this from a small little town in the North Seattle area where actually Sean and I met, and that's where we grew up, right? And we still live there. And we've been able to become YouTubers with millions of subscribers and do amazing things. And also see a lot of our colleagues from back in the day also do the same thing. We're sitting here at VidCon 2017, and I always am blown away by the stories I hear. And that's what we want for you guys. We want you to either have started 3 years ago when we started this channel, or have been doing it for a while, start today. And I want to hear the stories from you. And we would not do this unless we knew there was opportunity for us as well, right? And part of the opportunity for us is if you guys succeed. In fact, Video Influencers does not succeed unless you succeed, right? That's why we love interviewing viewers who have like taken it from the beginning and now are doing this full time, right? You know, I've met a few of you guys here at VidCon, and I told you I would like to interview you guys. That gets me so passionate to do this. Again, this is our side thing, right? This takes away from what we do, but we only do it because we know there's a lot of opportunity for you guys, right? If we don't do these live broadcasts for you guys, if we don't put up the interviews, if we don't share our tips, that potentially you guys might not take action, right? And we want to kind of selfishly be partly responsible. In fact, we were at the airport the other day and we met somebody who said, you know, the reason I'm even uploading videos to YouTube is because you guys, right? So we're definitely doing it for that selfish reason, but the other reason is also because, you know what? This is going to happen with or without us. This is going to happen with or without the 70 or so of you guys that are watching right now. So just ask yourself this, right? Are you going to do this, right? And we're going to do everything in our power to motivate you and inspire you to take action to build your influence, income, and impact. But you got to put in the hustle, right? You got to put in the work. 2,000 episodes, right? 10 years of work potentially, right? Hopefully you're already ahead of the curve. Maybe you've been in this industry a lot longer than you think, right? Maybe you actually picked up the camera in the early 2000s or the 90s or whenever you did, right? And you actually have more skills in whatever part of the YouTube community than you realize. And you can go after it, go for it, and then we could see you at VidCon, maybe on a panel as a keynote speaker, right? Or it doesn't even have to be that you end up at VidCon. Maybe you're doing such big things in your own world, you never get on our radar, but we don't care. Whatever that is for you, find your groove, find your own path, make the most of it, and become a video influencer. That's all I have to say today, actually.
Benji, thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Seriously, it
Thumbs
means
up.
the world to us. And yeah, if you got value out of this and you haven't smashed that like button, can you do it? And one of the things that happens when the live ends is that the live chat goes away. So we can see right now, Skeech Tech, I am wearing socks, Autumn Murray, what's up, Little Mountain Ranch, Ashley Justin, Blackie Speaks. Thank you guys all for being here. And if you're on the replay, thanks so much for being here. But when the replay comes down, it'll go, or when the replay goes up, if you could, come back, leave a comment, and actually give us a video idea. We'd love to hear from you for future topics you'd want us to cover. Maybe specific, we may have missed your question. The live chat disappears. So we can't see your question there, but if you come back to the replay, we'll be able to see your question.
And we'll try to respond to as many questions as possible. So do that right after we stop this broadcast.
Right after we stop the broadcast. But thanks again, guys. And hey, you know, keep it locked here because we are doing our best to commit to bring you a weekly interview, to bring you a weekly tips and strategy video here on the channel, and to try to bring you a live stream every other week or every week. And we're going to keep hustling and keep grinding just so that you can build your influence, build your income, and make a greater impact ultimately in the world. So thanks so much for being here. Benji, you want to land the plane?
Keep crushing it, you guys. We'll talk to you later.